Hey y'all, hey, it is T and I am back, and today I'm going to do a follow-up video to my 3 accounts video. That's the video where I describe 3 accounts that don't require a huge initial deposit, and I kind of thought it would be a great idea to check in with those accounts and see what has happened in these past 30 days. It's been a month now since I started at least 2 of these accounts. So we're going to check in and see what kind of growth there was, if any, and what you can expect realistically in these type of accounts. Let's go. Now, before I get started, I wanted to say if you are new here, welcome. And if you are not new, welcome back. My name is T. I do a little bit of everything on this channel, but a lot of my content is focused on finances. So today I wanted to talk about the 3 accounts that I discussed in my previous video regarding 3 accounts that you could start that don't require a huge initial deposit to show some returns. So the first one in that video was my Roth IRA. I just started that this year. I actually just started it last month. And before I get started on showing the returns, I wanted to say, note, this does not represent my emergency fund. I do have other savings accounts as well that are not included in this video. These are just these 3 specific accounts that I had recommended if you wanted to try them, that don't require a huge initial deposit to get started and kind of see some return on your money. So the Roth I started last month, I started it with an initial deposit of $4,000. And when that was entered in, I did invest in a Vanguard index fund. And when I started that, it's a targeted one too as well. I meant to add that. When I started that, I started it with a $4,000 deposit. Now, part of that was not entered into that index fund. A part of it was kept in cash. So I kept $120 in cash just because there is a 0.5% fee for this account with my credit union. So I wanted to make sure that I had the cash separated from the actual investment portion. So $3,880 was invested in the index fund, and the remaining $120 is just sitting in cash, and it does gain a slight amount of interest. So let's take a look at where we started. So 30 days later, we have gained 1 cent on the cash that was left out. And then for the Target Retirement Fund, I've gained $94.51 as of the close of the market on Friday. So not bad, about 2.4% on that $3,800. And I'm almost recouping that cash balance in my gains. Now, the second account I discussed was my brokerage account, and it's a small brokerage account. I actually started it with Stash, and what I started doing was funding that account solely with gifts and just any extra little money that I had. It wasn't something that I was putting a lot of stock in because I was afraid of the market. I was afraid of kind of selecting stocks and doing it myself, but I've become more comfortable over time. And so I decided to transfer that account from Stash to Fidelity. I did that last month, and after the transfer occurred, I did lose $100 because there was a fee to transfer the account, but I was okay with that. And now the money is there. Everything has been transferred. And we're going to see where I started, what I've put into it, and then where it sits today. I did put a little money in from cashback rewards. I'm still funding this account with cashback rewards from my credit cards. And I'm going to start to up that as well with some of my personal money. It still won't be a whole lot, but I'm going to up the amount that I'm putting in with my personal money. That is part of my mid-year change. I'm going to do a video on some of the changes I am making for mid-year. I always do a mid-year review, and I make changes as necessary for that. So that will be an upcoming video. But let's see where we are now with this investment account. So this was my starting point from Stash. I had $6,225.81. And of course, this is pre-transfer. I did lose $100 in the transfer fee, but this was my starting point. So we'll say $6,125.81. And this is where we are now. You can see that that $100 was replaced. I did have some cashback rewards, and I did a small deposit. I also had some investment income, so we're sitting at $6,425.35 currently. So I've gained about $156.15, and that's about 2.4%. Not bad for 30 days, but hopefully it will continue growing. We've had a lot of fluctuations, so this has gone up and down over the past 30 days. Now, this last one was just a high yield savings account that I've had. It's one of my 2 hold high yield savings accounts, and I call them hold accounts because they're accounts when I want to split out a certain thing to track. I will put them in these individual high yield savings accounts so that I can track only that, and it's not commingled with other funds that are already there. So this is one of my hold accounts that I've put my 2025 car fund in. My goal for the year was to save at least $8,000 toward my car fund. Now, if it's more, great. If not, I'll have to do better next year. But I wanted to save at least $8,000 for this year. And so far, I have a tracker that I've been tracking this on and where I should be and versus where I am. I did start this account with, I think maybe $500 and some in it. And that was just hold funds. I actually had put that there, I remembered, because those were part of my channel giveaway funds. I was like, I'll just sit this here so that it's separated. So that's what I was holding there. But what I did is I withdrew the money for the giveaway that I just had and left the remaining funds. So we should be at, for the month of June, we should be at $5,000, and this is where we're sitting currently. So let's get into that one. So this is just my tracker to show where I'm supposed to be. I should be at $5,000 for the month of June. I am contributing $500 a month, and then I did a $2,000 lump sum at the beginning of May, which would put me at the $5,000 mark. So in this account, we've earned $47.90 since the beginning of the year, and that's not bad. So our current balance is $5,347.90, and I do have another $300 transfer that's coming in before the end of June. So that will put us at $5,647.90. That's ahead of schedule. And I'm really happy with the $47.90 because all of that money adds up over time. So guys, I wanted to show this video to show some realistic gains for a smaller amount of money. I know a lot of people, when they think about the stock market, they think about, $1,000 turning into $5,000 overnight. And that can happen occasionally. But realistically, that's not how this goes. It's just a slow growth over time. So I kind of wanted you to see a realistic version of how my money is growing from those 3 accounts and maybe give you some ideas. It may spark you to want to try one of these methods or to try a different investment vehicle to grow your money. But that is a realistic view of how your money is going to grow. This has been a 30-day period, a 30-day window. You can see each individual account has gained money, some more than others. But that is what I wanted to show in this video as that follow-up to my previous video. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Even if you have just a comment on what you've seen today, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.